The social media giant we're going to be talking about in this video is down almost 30% over the past month. But today was a different story. They were up 3.25% during normal trading hours. Now, what I want to talk about in this video is this company, but I want to talk about whether or not this is a buying opportunity right now, or if we need to wait for further confirmation of price stability. So stick around. Hey guys, welcome back to the TipRanks YouTube channel. I'm Richard Allen. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. If you haven't figured it out yet, we're going to talk about Snapchat because Snapchat got crushed by their last earnings. Now, the stock got crushed, but it wasn't necessarily that much of an earnings debacle as you might think. They only missed earnings on the revenue side, but right around 3%. They beat EPS by 117%. They had fantastic growth. Their daily active users went up by 20% year over year. So this is a company that is continuing to grow, continuing to innovate, but they got hit a little bit hard on the revenue side. But again, only a 3% miss on the revenue side. But a 30% drop was drastic. So we're going to go over some of the innovations and some of the things that Snapchat is likely to do, the reason for their fall as well. And then we're going to look at some charting as well on the advanced section of our website and talk about different levels that I think it could get to over the next few weeks to several months. So let's jump right in. Let's talk about why Snapchat fell as much as it did. And it was really because of Apple. Yeah, that's right. We're going to blame Apple for Snapchat. If you guys saw Annika's video just a week ago talking about Snapchat, they had fallen quite a bit off of the news that Apple changed their privacy policy. And what this essentially did to social media companies or companies that make most of their money from ad tracking, Apple changed a big policy in their new updates that stopped ad tracking from happening. So essentially, this is hurting companies like Google, companies like Snapchat, obviously, that we're talking about, companies like Meta. If you don't know what Meta is, that's Facebook. They just changed their name. Companies like Facebook and others are really being hurt by this. Any company that's doing any sort of ad tracking at all is being hurt by this on the side of lower revenue. Okay, so ad tracking is something like, this is a good example. So I bought my wife a gravity blanket not that long ago. So I looked up gravity blanket. I searched gravity blanket, right? And then for several weeks from then on out, every website I went to, there was an ad for a gravity blanket. Okay, that's ad tracking. Okay, so that's what companies like Snapchat, Google, Facebook make a lot of their money on. Okay, so what Apple's new policy does is it stops that sort of thing from happening, or it limits it. Okay, so this is going to cause companies to have to innovate if they want to capture that sort of revenue. Okay, so Snapchat, that was really one of the main reasons why they had less revenue. They lowered forecast, but I believe Snapchat is one of the more innovative companies in the social media space, right? They're not worried about trying terrible ideas that are way too ahead of its time. Like, you remember Google Glass, right? Google Glass, at least it looked kind of cool, right? Snapchat had spectacles. You see the image there. Didn't look cool, okay? Like you're wearing Mickey Mouse on your face or something. So Snapchat is not afraid of trying out new things. They're not afraid of innovating. They're also not afraid of doing new things that get stolen by other social media platforms, such as Instagram taking stories and turning them into reels on their side, right? So there's so many things that Snapchat has done first, okay? That they're really an innovative company that other social media companies steal from them. So I really do think Snapchat will innovate its way out of this problem, but that was the main reason why Snapchat struggled as much as it did, because people are worried that this ad tracking thing is really going to cause some major issues for companies like Snapchat and Facebook. But Facebook didn't fall 30%, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, so we talked about why this happened to Snapchat, the main reason why, but there is one thing that I want you to keep in mind. Their daily active users are going up. Snapchat increased their daily active users by 20% year over year. This is a really good thing for Snapchat. They continue to grow. One thing to note with this year-over-year growth of 20% for Snapchat is that equates to 306 million daily active users. Now, that may seem like a lot, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to what Facebook has. Now, what that means for investors like us is that Snapchat can continue to grow at 20% year over year for daily active users for a long time before they're tapped out, before they have as big of a platform as Facebook, say. And I really do think Snapchat will continue to grow over time and, you know, get into other markets and things like that. I think Snapchat is going to be around for a long time. They're going to continue to innovate. This is a good thing. But let's jump over. I promised you guys that we were going to peek at the charts. So let's jump over. Let's look at the charts here real quick. So Snapchat closed at $54.90 today. Okay, again, they were up 3.25% today. Now, where is that on this list here? I drew a couple lines for you guys. The first line here is 54.89. That's where they are right now. They dropped 1 cent after hours. Now, I drew this line here. What this line is in my mind a good place of resistance for the stock. Okay, right around $58. What that's going to mean for me, right, is that I want to wait for this stock to either bounce around in here or break above this line, close above that $58 mark before I think that it's going to go higher than $58. Now, could you make a little bit of money in here? Could you make 5-8%, something like that in here playing around with this? Because there's a chance it's going to bounce around in here for a while, depending on what the major indices do, okay? There's a chance that this growth today isn't sustainable in the short term, but it certainly could be, right? But for me, in the short term, I want to wait for it to close above $58 per share and before I think it's going to head back up towards 70. But let me know down in the comments. When you look at the charts, do you see the same sort of thing? Do you think the line should be a little lower or a little higher? Let me know what you're waiting for Snapchat, or are you buying right now? Are you excited that they're down 30% over the past month because you're a long-term bull for this stock? Maybe you really love Snapchat and you love what they're doing, and you're excited for their growth ahead. Let me know. I would love to hear your opinion. Guys, thank you so much for joining me for another video. As always, if you learned something new or found any value in this video at all, let me know by hitting that like button and that subscribe button down below. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.